guys, welcome back to my channel. I've got a super exciting video today. We're going to be doing some leopard print nude nails, and I'm also going to be announcing my 3 giveaway winners later in the video. So be sure that you stick around to see if you've won. Before I get into it, I do want to remind you to hit subscribe and ring the notification bell so that you never miss out on a video. I have been using my community tab to post sneak peeks of the nails that I'll be doing in my next videos. So if you guys want to know what's coming up, always check my community tab and look at the posts that I have there, since I'm going to be doing that for all of my videos mostly. So I'm going to remove my previous design. If you guys missed how I did these cow nails, I will have the video linked in the iCards above for you. But I'm going to be using my favorite bit to remove the gel polish and top coat layer from all of my nails. This bit I absolutely love because it just makes the work so easy. If you can see, it's just taking that design right off for me. I do need to get it in a left-handed version because the teeth face one direction and it is meant to be used in forward mode on your e-file. Because I'm using my left hand to do this, I really do need it in reverse so that I can file properly and not be awkwardly positioned. But this is just my favorite bit, and I wanted to use it to do the removal and debulking because it makes it so easy. So I just chose to remain awkwardly positioned and use it a little bit funny. Also with this bit, you definitely want to use it on a very high rotation speed. I would say over 20,000 rotations per minute. If you use it slower than that, it does not glide smoothly across the nail, and you can end up taking out like little chunks rather than it being a smooth glide over the top. I know it can be scary to try to use a bit at such a high rotation rate. However, this bit will not cut you. It is super safe to use. You can see I've had to position my hand awkwardly. So I definitely hit my finger a couple times and you don't even feel it. So just make sure you've got it on a high rotation and you'll be good to go. Then after I removed all of my old gel polish and top coat, I am just using this 5-in-1 bit just to further take down the old nails and smooth them out to prep for application. So this middle finger, I had a huge lift. My son loves to wrestle with me, and it seems that it's always the middle finger on my right hand that ends up getting smashed when we're wrestling, and it always ends up lifting. So generally when that happens, I just glue it down right away before I do anything else. It's the first thing I do. I go glue it down, because if you do other things first, there can be some moisture that can get in there and you can end up with like a greenie or different things. So I don't always recommend that you glue down lifting. I only do it for like a day just to get me through until I take the nails off, to keep it from lifting further and causing damage to my natural nail. So using this 5-in-1 bit, I'm basically using it at an angle and cutting right behind where I'm seeing the lifting so that I can flake it off without having to touch my natural nail. So I'm gonna let you guys watch me do that. I will say that, like I said, this lift is huge, so it's barely connected to the tip of my nail when I'm done getting all the lifting off. So I will have to go back and almost redo the nail. It's almost like these old nails end up being a nail tip, and then I build product on top of it to replace everything I've had to remove. So you'll see here what I mean in a minute, because almost my entire nail bed was exposed after I removed all of the lifting. Once the lifting is gone and I know that there isn't any more, I'll just use this same bit over the entire length of the nail just to smooth it out like I do with the other nails, so that I can have a good application with my new hard gel that I'll be applying later. So after that's done, I'm just going to use this fine grit cuticle bit to remove the cuticle off of my nail plate. This bit I use at maybe 5,000 to 6,000 rotations per minute, so a very slow speed. And I go up one side wall along the length of the cuticle and then down the other side wall. I will be using another bit after this. It's either the X cut or the cross cut by Young Nails. I can't remember which. It's this one here. I know it's a medium grit, and I will have it linked for you guys in the description. Basically, this is the equivalent of a medium grit sanding band, but for me, I can get closer back to my cuticle so that I can make sure there's nothing left on my nail plate. So this is what I like to use for that. And then once I have gone around the cuticle, I make sure that there's no shine left on the natural nail, and then I just follow it through down the length of the nail. Just once again, make sure everything is nice and smooth. If you don't smooth out that base before applying new product, you're gonna have some dents and dips in your product application, and it just becomes a lot more difficult to get a smooth application. The smoother the application, the less filing you have to do in the end.
I'm not saying I don't have problems. I got way too many for you to count.
Now I'm basically done with this bit, so I'm just going to spray off my nails with alcohol and remove all of the dust. Then I'm going to use my 100 grit Tammy Taylor peel and stick file just to clean up the shape before I go in with application. I like to make sure that everything is shortened as much as I need it to be. And then I also kind of bring the side walls in a little bit, just because as they grow out, they can end up looking a little wider than what they had originally looked. So I do that, and then I will go in with my prep dehydrator and my Young Nails Protein Bond twice, and we'll get into application after that.
We got options, we got nowhere to be if I'm with you. Girl, that's alright with me. We got options, we got nowhere to be if I'm with you. Girl, that's alright with me, alright with me. I've been feeling so down, yeah. Can you tell me why? Can you tell me why I'm down, yeah? No friends of mine around, yeah. Now I'm thinking I might have caught the June blues, yeah. I wanna drown myself inside the juice, yeah. You know I keep on running from the truth.
So once I've used the Protein Bond twice, I'm going in with my Coty Rubber Base Gel, and I am going to apply this on all of the nails where the natural nail is exposed, and then on my middle nail, because there is so much nail plate showing and so little of the previous set left on that finger, I'm going to apply the base gel twice. So after I cure this for 60 seconds, I'll go back in with a second coat on that middle finger. It just makes me feel more secure about it. Like I worry when there's such little amount of nail attached to the natural nail plate the way that this is. I worry that I'm gonna hit it and it's gonna break off. So I would rather base coat it twice and be sure that it's got enough strength to make it through until I get my application done. Now I'm going to use this clear gel, and I'm going to apply a thin layer on all of the nails. I'm starting on that middle nail again just to make sure it has all the strength that it needs. And I do this so that when I go to remove these nails or put on a new design or anything like that, get rid of lifting, whatever the case may be, I have a clear layer to file back to so that I don't have to file back to my natural nail. If you file back to your natural nail every time, you're going to file them and end up thinning them out and damaging them. It's really not good to be filing down to the natural nail every single time. So just apply that clear base, and that way you have a thin layer to protect your nails when you're filing down the old product. Once that clear base is on all of my nails, I'm going to be using this IBD Natural 2 hard gel. And this is a super thick formula, so it doesn't really self-level. So you're going to notice I have a little bit of a hard time with it. I don't generally like gels that are this thick. They're a lot harder to work with. However, if you end up with lumps and bumps or anything like that, it can be fixed in the filing. Just make sure that you've got enough thickness where you need it, and you can always file down the rest. So I'm applying my slip layer, and then I'm going to grab a nice big bead and start back by the cuticle area, and then pillow the product back through the cuticle area and work it down the surface of the nail. Now, when you're working with a product like this that is super, super thick, it's really important to kind of jiggle and swirl your brush more than you would if it was a thinner consistency gel. It will help it to warm up a little bit more, so it will self-level slightly rather than not at all. And when I'm doing this, I'm making sure that when I go back up into a section I've already been in, that can create air bubbles. So you just want to make sure that you work carefully and a little bit slowly, so that, because if you're moving around in quick motions constantly, you're going to create a lot of bubbles and you're going to reduce the strength of the nail and really compromise it. So I'm just making sure that I'm working slowly, and if I notice that there's any bubbles at all, I get them out of the gel before I cure. Of course, there's Tatiana. She popped up a few times in this video. Would it be one of my videos without her? I don't think so. So I noticed I was missing a little product on this side, so I just grabbed a little bit more, and now I'm just applying it right in that area. Then I'll flip over my nail and make sure everything is sitting where it needs to be before I cure it. Now, with a product like this, flipping over your nail is not going to do a whole lot to bring that product back to that center point in the apex and everything, but it will self-level slightly because of the way that I kind of juggled it around the nail to help it warm up. So now I'm going to apply it in the same way on my ring finger, and then I'll be back when it's time for the next step. Cause you make me feel dumb like I am Sam. Make me feel love is all a sham. Man, we used to kick it like Van Damme. Now you more concerned with Instagram. Showing your fake titties got you instant fans. Baby, I was here before the implants. Just me and you, smoking implants. I said it, I meant it. Advance, I spent it on the expensive dinners and Lululemon. Now she talking like she moving on. Whatever, man. Peace. I promise your ass will be gone, 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 gone. I said I promise your ass will be gone, 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 gone. Because you left me with a broken heart. Tried to patch it up, but it's so hard to stop. Promise you'll be gone, 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 gone. Peace. I'm out of here. Sing it. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
was finna write a song, but how I been hella stressed. But I looked in your eyes and noticed I'm hella blessed. Staring at you on this airplane, I ain't worried about nothing, cause you got me feeling like the Wayne Wade in 03. Yeah, you and me, we got the heat, so bump all that anxiety. But you hit to the side of me, I feel like I'm gliding. And honestly, look, I don't want you saying that you had a better chance without me. That you wish you.
So on my other nails, I'm going to be covering them up with gel polish over the entire surface. So I chose not to use that thick product that's a little bit more difficult for me to use, and instead I went with my thin clear hard gel. I'm again creating my slip layer and making sure I tuck that back into the cuticle area. Then I'll go in with a big bead and work it over the surface of the nail, just in the same way that I did with the IBD gel. On my other nails, there was a bit of an apex still there because these nails had only been maybe 2.5, maybe 3 weeks old. So the apex was still there and it wasn't needing to really be built up. But on this nail, because I removed all of that due to lifting, I do want to make sure I'm applying enough product to allow that apex to build. Also, because this runs so much, you're going to see that I flip my hand over multiple times throughout. That's to help keep it from running onto the skin. Once it runs onto the skin, it's going to run like crazy onto the skin. Anywhere that there's gel, that gel will move to. So if it starts going towards your sidewalls or your cuticle or anything like that, just flip your hand over before it hits the skin if you can, and that will help save you from having to clean up a mess. So I cured that first layer and it still was not quite high enough of an apex. So I'm just going in with another bead, pretty small. And this time I didn't apply a slip layer just because this is such a runny product. I didn't want it to flow into the rest of the nail. I wanted it to stay in that apex area. So I'm going to apply this same product in a similar way as the second layer that I did to my middle finger. So basically I'm just applying some back by the cuticle area and then feathering out the front of that bead over the rest of the nail. I'm going to do that on my pointer and my pinky, just because again those ones will be covered up with gel paint anyways, so I might as well use a product that's a little bit easier for me. Now that those have been done, I'm just taking some alcohol on a lint-free nail wipe and I'm removing the sticky inhibition layer from all of the nails. Then I'm going to go in and do some filing. The filing that I did on these nails, I only used a hand file. I did not use my e-file for this set. Gel is such a softer product than acrylic, and it's not always necessary for me to use a hand file, particularly because on most of these nails, the structure was already there, the shape was already there. I was just cleaning it up a little bit from application. So I first go in with my sidewalls and make sure that they're tapered properly. Then I file down my free edge just to make sure that it's exactly the length I wanted it. Then I'll go over the body of the nail and smooth it out and make sure that it blends from my apex down to the tip. And I'm making sure that the bulk of the product is remaining in the apex and that the tip is nicely thinned out. So it should blend seamlessly from apex slanting down to the tip for the structure that I like to have for my nails. Then I will go up and around the cuticle area and smooth that out, make sure that it blends perfectly into my natural nail.
No worries, please get back early. Head out with champagne and dresses and let's get girly. No worries, please get back early. Head out with champagne and dresses and let's get girly. time to unlearn all those barriers. They all fall down now. There's nothing in the way when they say take it slow. A knowing smile starts to grow. I'm
Just about done with the filing here. And then I'm going to spray off the nails with alcohol and use my nail brush. First I go sideways, then I spray them again, and I go up and down, and making sure that I'm pulling down a couple times in the end, just so that I'm removing all the dust rather than pushing it into the sidewalls. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for, my giveaway winners. For prize pack number 2, my winner is Riley. For box number 3, we have got Sydney. And for my extra entry for box number 1, the winner is Elise. Congratulations, ladies. Please be sure that you guys have sent me your address over on Instagram. I'm super excited that you guys all participated. All 3 of you are such awesome girls. I think every single one of you put in for my extra entry, so that was really cool to see the random comment picker pull your names. For everyone who didn't win, don't be discouraged. I will be having more giveaways coming up very soon, so you will have more chances to win. So just make sure that you're subscribed with your notifications on so you don't miss out on the next one. So I'm just going in with some gel paint. Both these colors were by ModelOnes. I mixed a nude shade that I was looking for. One was a little bit too pink, so I added a little bit more brown. And then I'm applying that with a gel brush, making sure to keep it a very thin layer. When you're working with gel paints like this over the entire surface of the nail, you want it to be super thin because these are so opaque. It makes it very hard for the product to cure properly if your application is too thick. It is better to go in with 3 super thin layers than 1 thick one. If you go in too thick, you're gonna get puckering where the surface of the nail kind of wrinkles, and that's because there's uncured gel underneath. So make sure your layers are super thin and you'll be good to go. I'm going to do that on my pointer and my pinky. And this product, because it's a gel paint, it doesn't really self-level. It's very, very thick. And so I didn't want to have to go through and like buff the nails before applying my top coat. So I ended up mixing almost the exact same shade with gel polishes by ModelOnes, and then I went over this gel paint layer with the gel polish, and that smoothed it out very nicely for me. Of course, guys, if you guys have any questions on the products that I'm using in the video today, it will all be linked in the description box as always. But if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'm more than happy to help.
can hold me to the ground, higher, higher. It's our time.
Look up from your telescope, take me on this journey home. I don't wanna wait no more. Lay me down behind the moon, tell me you'll be on real soon. I don't wanna wait no.
I was just checking to make sure I got that applied really tightly to the cuticle. Now while I'm curing that hand, I'm going to apply some of those gel polish colors on my palette and mix up. It's almost the same shade, just with a gel polish rather than a gel paint. And I'm going to use my same brush that I used with my gel paints just to apply that right on top of those same 2 nude nails.
Space, 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 feeling like Pluto. You already knew though. I'm hiding just behind the stars, but how come the stars don't shine when it's day? How come the sky at night makes me this way? Why you so far away? Galaxy cast away.
Once I get that gel polish applied really thin and back tight to the cuticle, I'm now going to do my glitter nail. I'm using a gel polish, glitter gel polish, again by ModelOnes. If you guys notice, I use a lot of their products. That's because their products are amazing quality. I know there have been some complaints from some that it takes a long time to receive their products. That's really only the case if you order from their website, and that's because their products come from China if it's placed on the website. But if you order from Amazon, it'll come with your Prime delivery just like everything else. So that's how I get them. So I'm just going to apply this glitter polish to the entire nail, and I make sure that I'm getting mostly full coverage with this, but I am going to be doing a glitter press on top of it just to fill in any gaps and make everything really, really super glittery without any translucent areas, which would happen if I didn't do a glitter press on top. So the Young Nails Resolution Glitter, I used it in my Feather Neon Nails set, and it's kind of my new obsession. So I cured the ModelOnes glitter gel polish only for 30 seconds, and then I'm taking my little brush and tapping the glitter on top, making sure to press it all in. It'll lay really nice and flat, and then when you go in and top coat it later, you'll have a really nice full glitter nail. So once I got that all pressed in, I give it another 30-second cure since that gel polish does require 60 seconds. Then I just take that same glitter brush and I dust everything off nicely. And then we're going to start doing my leopard nails. So I started by applying little dots of that gel polish color that I mixed. But after I got it applied to both my nails and I looked at it and I got the little black accents around the little dots, there was not enough contrast between the color of the actual nail and the middle of the spots. So I end up covering it up with gold gel paint after I do my little black line application. So I'll let you guys watch as I apply this. Basically, I'm just making sure to vary the dots in size, and I'm trying to keep them all facing almost the same direction, but keeping them random. I don't want it to look like a checkerboard effect or like super like uniform across the nail. I want it to be more sporadic because everything in nature is that way. Like nothing in nature is absolutely perfect or super uniform. So after I get all my spots applied, I do a 60-second cure, and I'm using a little bit smaller of a dotting tool with my black gel paint, and this gel paint has a very thin viscosity to it. It's not super thick like most gel paints, so if you don't have one that's a little bit thinner like this, I would just say use a gel polish. It's better to use something that'll lay flatter rather than use something that's going to give a lot of texture to the nail, unless you want it to be more of a 3D nail art effect. So I'm using that black just to create my little almost like outlines, and I'm varying it so that some have 3, some have 2, a few of them like have 1 that kind of goes around the majority of it. So when I am doing something that is found in nature like this, I always make sure I look at some reference pictures first just to see what details and what features does that have that creates that effect. I highly suggest doing that, and that way you can make sure that your designs can be easily recognized. I know there's nothing more frustrating than doing some kind of nail art and showing it to people and then them going, oh, what is it? Or is that this? And you're like, no, it's this. They're like, really? That's so frustrating. So I just try to use reference pictures when doing like natural elements. Once I get the outlines on all of the little dots, I'm just going to apply some little black dots in between some of the spots, just to help fill it in a little bit more, and also because, again, that is the way that they appear in nature. So I'll do that on both nails, cure it for 60 seconds, then I'll go in and fix my spots with some gold gel paint. So I'm using this gel paint by Vrenmal. However, I don't think it's available anymore. Savaland has basically the exact same set. They're like sister companies, so they'll be the same product basically, just maybe slightly different packaging. I'll have the Savaland one linked in the description box for you guys. I started with a dotting tool to apply the gold, and by the time I get to the next nail, I think I end up using a silicone tool. These dotting tools I use have silicone tools on the other end, and I don't know why I didn't think about it sooner, but the silicone tool made it a lot easier to get more of a precise application. So I do switch to that in a moment. So basically I'm just going in and filling all of my little designs and little spots with gold. And then because the gold covers up some of the black outlines, after I get the gold applied and it's all cured for 60 seconds, I'll go in with the same silicone applicator and just touch up the little black areas wherever it's needed.
They say a drunk mind speaks over thoughts. So baby, what are you saying? Cause tell me one thing. When you take them shots, but the next day you're just playing. Now baby, I don't need my time wasted. If you don't want me, then just say yes. Instead of calling up my phone when you've been drinking all night long. You're gonna act like you ain't saying. You're gonna act like it's a lie. You tryna play with my emotions, but that drink, babe, doesn't lie. So drink it up. I wanna know what's on your mind. So drink it up. Want you to tell me that you're mine. So drink it up. Tell me you love me once again. So drink it up. I wanna know what you're thinking. So drink it up. So drink it up. So drink it up. So drink it up. You said you didn't mean it, that you went too far, trying to act like you forgot. You're acting like I'm crazy, like I made this up, but baby, I think not. All those late night conversations when you said you want my heart, and you think I'm so amazing, you don't like being apart. You told me you miss me, and you need me, that you love more than my body. I caught you off guard, you falling real hard. Well, sorry, I'm not sorry. You're gonna act like you ain't saying. You're gonna act like it's a lie. You tryna play with my emotions, but that drink, babe, doesn't lie. So drink it up.
And now for my favorite part, bling application. I knew when I did this design I wanted it on a slant, and the bling I kind of did a soft S shape, so it goes almost in an S but not quite as strong of a curve. So I started applying the bling on these nails, and then I realized that gems I was using were a little bit too big, so I took them off and then added smaller sizes. Then I just pushed them around into that kind of soft S shape that I wanted, and then applied some little gold caviar beads in between each little rhinestone just to make it pop a little more. And also, to me, it almost looks like jewelry that way. It's like I took a piece of bracelet and put it on my nail. I don't know, it's just that setting look. It's beautiful to me, and so I use caviar beads almost every time that I do bling, and I love how it looks.
was kissing you with my eyes open, but you said keep them closed and be in the moment. So I did my best to make you feel wanted. But what about what I want? What about what I want? And what I wanted was to crash with my dumb friends on the weekend instead of watching a movie. But you wanted me to be what you need instead of being me. Oh, and that's how I knew it. I guess I never loved you like I love me. I guess I never loved you, and that's okay with me. Cause someday I'll love someone like I love me. Might have to wait a little, and that's okay with me. Okay, 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 okay with me. Okay, 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 I would tell you everything I believed in, but you said shut it off, you're too old for dreaming. So I did my best to feel what you're feeling. But what about what I want? What about what I want? Cause what I wanted was to laugh at the way you laugh at the way I laugh. But instead you were moody, and you wanted me to be what you need instead of being me. Oh, and that's how I knew it. I guess I never loved you like I love me. I guess I never loved you, and that's okay with me. Cause someday I'll love someone like I love me. Might have to wait a little, and that's okay with me. Okay, 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 okay with me. Okay, 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 and that's okay with me. I guess I never loved you like I love me. I guess I never loved you, and that's okay with me. Okay, 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 okay with me. Okay, 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 Sometimes I start to wonder if I should change my mind. But when I think back to you, I feel the same every time. Cause I guess I never loved you like I love me. I guess I never loved you, and that's okay with me. Cause someday I'll love someone like I love me. But have to wait a little, and that's okay with me. Okay, 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 okay with me. Okay, 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 and that's okay with me. I guess I never loved you like I love me. I guess I never loved you, and that's okay with me. Okay, 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 okay with me. Okay, 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 and that's okay with me. Okay, 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 okay with me. Okay, 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 and that's okay with me.
Love you like crazy. Love you like crazy. I wanna let you know. Love you like crazy. Even when it gets hard and we wanna let go, I still love you like crazy. I wanna let you know. Love you like crazy. Even when it gets hard and we wanna let go, love you like crazy. Never been the type for giving up. Complicated situations only make it worse, cause just getting started, it's not enough. I'll be around when you need me, promise there won't be no leave. Even on my worst days, 2 a.m. my shift face, tripping off something that you done, yeah. I would never listen my work compass and run out on you. Love you like crazy. I know we got our problems, but I would never walk out on you. I wanna let you know. Love you like crazy. Even when it gets hard and we wanna let go, I still love you like crazy. I wanna let
So now that I've gotten those in place the way I want, I'll go ahead and cure it for 60 seconds. Then I'm going to use my very favorite glossy top coat, which is the Young Nails Stain Resistant Top Coat. And I'm going to push the edge of the brush right up against my bling. I do this to make sure that all of the little edges are capped. If they're not, then you can end up losing your little bling rhinestones a lot sooner. I never lose any because I always seal in those edges with the top coat. If this was a more intricate design and it wasn't so easy for me to get the brush from the bottle up against it, I would go in with a detailed brush just to make sure that I get in between every single stone. But that's not needed with these ones, so I just use the brush that was in the bottle. And then I'll top coat my other nails as well. When I do the glitter nail, which I will top coat last, just watch how that goes. It's beautiful. It really pops that glitter nail once I apply the top coat. I know right now it looks a little bit white, and that's just because of that glitter press that I did. But once I get the top coat on it, I mean, you guys saw in the original pictures, it's beautiful, right? I tend to give a little flash cure between each nail just to make sure that my gel isn't going to run anywhere that I don't want it to be. And here comes the glitter nail. It's gorgeous! I love it. Oh my gosh, this nail is just like, it's so beautiful. I don't know why I thought of pressing glitter on top of a glitter gel. I could have just continued to go in with layers of the glitter gel, but I didn't want to create any excess thickness, and that glitter press really just perfected the nail and like gave it the pop I was looking for. So pretty. So I'll cure that for 60 seconds. I'll remove the sticky inhibition layer from that Young Nails stain resistant top coat. I'll go ahead and rub in my cuticle oil and we will be all done. Make sure you guys let me know what you think of this set down below, although I'm pretty sure y'all are gonna love it. It's gotten a good response on my community tab and on my Instagram, so it's been a lot of fun watching you guys get excited for the video. Of course, if you guys have any questions, suggestions, or requests for different sets, let me know down below. I love to hear from you guys. Be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye!